Okay, so now we're going to look at our formula that we're always going to use to find out how much interest we're going to earn when we're using compound interest. So we're going to say A equals P times 1 plus R over N times N to the T. Okay, so just write that down. That's very important. So A is going to be our final amount, so our ending balance. P is our initial amount, so what we're starting with, like what we're putting in the bank initially. Our rate is, R is going to be your rate that you'll earn annually, or sometimes we'll say semi-annually or quarterly, and we'll talk about that. And N is your compound per year. And then basically how many times per year they compounded your interest, or they figured out your interest. And T equals the number of years. So in compound interest, principal changes every year. Previous amount becomes principal for the next year. Okay, so I already explained that in the example, but let's look at some of our homework examples now. Actually, let's look at that. So just to give you a quick idea, if we're talking about exponential growth, when you put your money in the bank and it earns interest, at first, like the first year, it's just going to go up a little bit. But as you keep keeping that money in the bank, as you save that money in the bank, it's going to very quickly at the end start growing fast. So just like the example I gave you with your $100, at first you just earned a little bit of interest, but then it's going to keep growing and growing and growing and growing and growing, and that's what compound interest is. Okay, so that's why it's better than simple interest. All right, so let's look at our homework examples. So for number 11 for the homework, it says $7,300. So $7,300 you're putting in the bank at 7% compounded semi-annually for 3 years. So let's look back at our formula. Let's look at our formula again. Let's write it here. A equals P times 1 plus R over N to the NT power. Okay, let's keep that formula always handy. So when we're looking for how much interest we're going to have after 3 years, that's going to be what we're looking for. We're looking for our A. We're looking for our ending balance. Our principal was what we started with. So 7,300, right? And then we're going to multiply. We're going to put 1. We just keep that the same. Plus our R. Our R is 7%. But remember, when you have to change your percent into a decimal, and I want to give you a trick. Remember I said that always a decimal is at the end of a number, right? So there really is a decimal point right here. You're going to always move your decimal place 2 places to the left. So 1, 2. So this is going to be 0.07, right? And then over your N. So our N is going to be, it says semi-annually. Semi-annually means, and that's an important word, it means twice a year. So 2 times per year. So we're going to put that over 2. And then our N here is 2 times our T, which is 3. Okay, so this is what you're setting up. Then what you're going to do is, I would remember, because of our PEMDAS, or please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, all right, we know we have to do what's in the parentheses first. So let's go ahead and solve this. So we can get our calculator here. Okay. And I want you to see how I'm entering this. So I'm going to put 7/100 divided by 2, right? And I'm going to get this. And then I'm going to add 1 to that. So if you just add a whole number to that, it's going to be 1.35, right? 1 35. So we can come back into our parentheses here and rewrite this. So that became 1 35. Okay, now we multiply these 2 numbers, so that's going to become 6. So we're going to take our 1 35 and we're going to take it to the 6th power. So on your calculator or your phone or whatever, you're going to have to take the exponent. So to the 6th power. Okay, so that would be, what would it be, to the 6th power? And then, so you have to do the exponent first. And because that's our E in our exponent. And then you have to multiply by 7,300. That's the mistake that many students make, is that they forget to do that. So first, again, you take the exponent, then you multiply it. So now our answer, if you can see it, is $8,973.56. That is how much interest. You started with $7,300, but if you just left it in there for 3 years and interest was compounded, or you were accruing interest every two times a year, this is how much you made after 3 years just by leaving it in the bank. Okay, so that's your compound interest there. All right, I'll come on with another example.